Take podcast. This week we are talking about the Oscars, otherwise known as the year the year everything everywhere all at once totally dick slapped the competition. Thank you for coming.
Just dick all over the place. Just
Historical
crazy.
domination.
Just beating the fuck out of people with a dildo on stage.
Quite literally, like as in the movie. This is episode 140, but we're not reviewing a movie. This is all Oscars talk here, folks, as we've been known to do for the past, goddamn, we've been doing this show for 3 years. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh no. Anyway,
My favorite episode of every year. The Oscars episode.
This year, you may or may not have heard we didn't have anybody slap anybody.
Yeah, and Oscars without incident. I like that bit at the end.
Very buttoned up Oscars. The most controversial thing that happened outside of the actual awards was, I think, somebody being an asshole on the red carpet, but they weren't really an asshole, and that was who was
Hugh
that?
Grant.
Hugh
Grant being British on the red carpet was the biggest flaw of the ceremony.
I missed this entirely. I have no idea what you're talking about.
He was just sarcastic, and people were like, "What an asshole!" It's just like,
I saw the clip and I was like, no, he's just British. It's fine.
It's the whole thing. Yeah, so we can talk about the ceremony a little bit. We do this for the awards, not necessarily because look, at this point, if you're complaining about the Oscars not being an entertaining award show, I don't know what to tell you, man.
It's kind of on you at this point.
Yeah, we're watching this for hot people being famous on stage, although they were severely tame, like Tej was saying.
Very tame. You could tell they did not want people to be interacting too much with other people.
Don't be out here acting a fool.
Somebody might get the shit slapped out of them again, and they couldn't have that again. So it was very buttoned up.
But yeah, we are just literally going to talk about the sheer dominance of a film that we told y'all exactly a year ago was going to dominate, or should at the very least dominate.
That's
if we lived in a just world, and it turns out
we kind of do. Sometimes we do, depending on who you ask. Don't ask Angela Bassett today.
Well, yeah, that's or anyone that made Tar or The Fabelmans.
Oh, buddy, holy! Can we just off the top? I gotta say, Tar and The Fabelmans both walking away with nothing kind of makes me sad.
It made me very sad.
It makes me very sad because Tar, legitimately one of the best films I've seen in years, and The Fabelmans is also some real fucking cinema, and Steven Spielberg deserved a little bit of something, anything, like tonight or last night.
They gave my guy nothing. They showed Steven Spielberg on camera no less than 6 or 7 times, and he left empty-handed.
Remember, guys, Steven's here. Hey, Steven, because none of the old people were like, "Nah, I'm not coming to that. No thanks. We know what's gonna happen. We've seen all the other industry awards." And Steven was like, "I guess."
At least Tom Cruise had the dignity to cancel on them. Tom Cruise said, "No, actually, I will not be there. Y'all not gonna give Top Gun 1 award for sound? No, I'm not gonna be there.
Thank you. I'm gonna make Mission Impossible 8.
Thank you."
No, I think it really. The entire narrative that we had been saying on this podcast that it was going to probably run the gauntlet. It was nominated for 11 awards, I believe.
Yeah.
Won 7. Everything Everywhere All at Once. And it literally becomes the first movie ever in the history of 95 of them things to win 3 acting awards and Best Picture.
Insane. And Best Director.
Crazy.
Well, yeah, I'm going to say it won all of the above the line awards. Yeah. It won Best Writing, which is the thing that people care about.
5 for 6 in the Big 6.
And they didn't have one nomination. They didn't have one of the things they didn't get nominated in.
They didn't have anybody eligible for Best Actor. They probably would have won that too. Like they probably would have just took everything.
Yeah. Right. And really there's only one win out of the bunch that I'd have any gripe with at all. Like,
same,
to be real.
Yeah.
Like it's Jamie Lee Curtis win.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Ke Huy Quan wins for Best Supporting Actor. That was the first award given out. Or actually, was the first award given out animation?
No, the first award given out was to Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ciao Papa. It was
Ciao, Papa.
A movie I still haven't seen, but I've heard great things.
Me neither, but I heard the song. The song fucking slaps. It's a great song.
Guillermo del Toro continues stacking up awards for movies that like 10 people have seen. I think a lot of people saw that Pinocchio movie, but I will say,
I mean, it's
like,
on Netflix, but like it
you
came
would've-
and went.
if they didn't put Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio on there, you wouldn't have known it was
You
made
wouldn't
by
have
him. You would have had no idea.
It's also hilarious that Netflix had 2 movies win tonight. One for Pinocchio and a lot of under the line wins for All Quiet. That they were not pushing for these awards.
No.
Like 6 months ago. They were not thinking that these were going to be the runners, but these were the ones that caught on with the Academy, and so that's what happened.
Fucking Bardo got nominated for best cinematography, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that movie exists. That was a
Fart-
thing. They
Fart
tried."
noise. No, so Kiwi Kwan deservedly so. I mean, talk about running the gauntlet. My man put up wilt numbers in the award season. It was
won,
unbelievable.
Like everything.
won everything.
98% of like every award body in the country gave him best supporting actor.
Yeah,
Right.
Lots
he
of
had no-
locks going into it last night.
Harrison Ford was up there to give him Harrison Ford is on stage. Obviously, they were in Indiana Jones 40 years ago, one of the most racist movies of all time. So we got that full circle. But no, I'm very happy for him, and he was very deserving. And I hesitate to say this, but because the award season is so long, we've seen most of these people, if not all these people, give speeches already. And I
Yeah.
thought this wasn't the best version of his speech because he's given so many of them, but
Yeah.
it was still great. It was still great.
It was the most impassioned of any of the speeches I think that anyone actually gave. It was like
Definitely.
he meant it. He was crying on stage and everything. And I think it's still, regardless of how much they actually know that they're going to win or not, I think it's still emotional for these people. It's the biggest. It's literally the biggest award. So like, you know,
You saw the difference between he was composed, although he was obviously very emotional, versus Brendan Fraser. You could tell he had no idea he was about to win. Like
Yeah.
he was on stage, he could barely speak. The person I was watching the Oscars with was like, "Does he have like a deficiency or something?" And I was like, "No, that's Brendan Fraser. He
He's
just
just
literally
stunned.
did. He's just stunned that he just won an Oscar. He had no idea he was going to win."
Yeah,
Like,
I
he had no
think,
idea.
The thing with the entire Everything Everywhere All at Once crew, like most of them knew that they had it locked up. Except Michelle Yeoh, like that one was down to the wire either way. But it was more like a relief. Like, oh, thank God, I actually did win it. Everyone's been telling me I'm gonna win it for months, and I did win it. Okay, like we're off the hook. It's like when you play like a if you're a 5 seed and you play in the NCAA tournament, you're like, okay, we beat the 12. Thank God.
Ooh,
Holy
all right.
shit.
We didn't want to sweat that one out any more than we had to.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they were all just relieved, it seemed like. And then by the end of it, the Daniels were just like, okay, like, yeah, we
came up
said
here
enough.
5 times.
You've heard from us.
So the biggest controversy, if you want to even call it that, not a controversy, it's just kind of, I don't even have the word for it, annoying a little bit to me.
Nastiness?
Yeah, it's annoying.
Easily the worst win of the night.
Jamie Lee Curtis wins for Best Supporting Actress immediately after Best Supporting Actor. They put these awards right next to each other so that you just knew that that everything was going to win down the line. They just won back to back, so you're like, oh, so this is over, right? Regardless,
Before we do this, I just want to say that I think I speak for all of us. We love Jamie Lee Curtis. She is
Yeah.
a queen. She is just Halloween, Freaky Friday. Like Jamie Lee Curtis is great. None of this controversy has anything to do with Jamie Lee Curtis, the person, or even Jamie Lee Curtis's performance and Everything Everywhere All at Once, because I think her performance is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with the performance.
Yeah,
I think
she's
she does
good.
a great job in her role. It's just an oversight by the Academy, because if you're not going to give it to Angela Bassett, which is obviously not what I would prefer, but fine, we don't have to give it to Angela Bassett, but let's give it to the person who was the actual Best Supporting Actress in that same film.
Yep.
Like, if
Right.
we're gonna do that, then let's just give it to the person. I know that, like, and the reason why this discourse gets so nasty online is because 98% of the people commenting on it don't actually watch the Oscars or care about the Oscars or know how it works. But this was not the first legacy Oscar that we've ever seen. It wasn't even the first legacy Oscar that we had on the same evening. So like
all
this
four of
happens.
them were legacy Oscars in one way or another.
Yes, this happens. Like they look towards the past. Everybody knows it. Okay, it's not a secret. So obviously Jamie Lee Curtis has never been nominated because she traditionally doesn't make movies
Make
that
genre
are
films.
she's a genre queen. She makes scary movies. She makes action movies. She makes comedy. She doesn't really make movies that are quote unquote Oscar bait, which kind of underlines the point of why it's so monumental that Everything Everywhere was able to be so successful, because that is also not a traditional Oscar movie in a lot of ways. Young directors based on memes and sausage fingers and ratatouille, like that is not what the Oscars usually awards. Like this is the same Oscar body that gave Coda an award just last year. Like Coda is a down the line Oscar movie. Like Moonlight is a down the line Oscar movie, right? Like Everything Everywhere All at Once is from two dudes that were on YouTube too much and made a movie. Like, and it's great. I love the movie. I'm not shitting on the movie. It's just not a traditional Oscar movie. So there's some like poetic justice that Jamie Lee Curtis was finally able to win by being in a movie that Jamie Lee Curtis would have been in anyway. Like she didn't take this movie being like, yes, this is my Oscar movie.
Yeah, this ain't
and
the
we
whale.
know there are people like Brendan Fraser who take movies like Leo did it. Leo did The Revenant specifically because he was like, yes, this is going to be my
Now
Oscar
you're going to
movie.
have to give me an Oscar.
Yeah. Now you're going to be forced to give me an Oscar. I'm going to be inside this fucking bear and it's going to be gross and you're not going to remember this movie, but you're going to be forced to give me my Oscar. Same thing with The Whale. People do that. So Jamie Lee Curtis did not do the whole thing where she pick an Oscar movie. She's just picking a movie that's in line with the kind of movies that she makes. That being said, it's an oversight. It's just Jamie Lee Curtis's performance, while perfectly fine, is not by itself worthy of an Oscar. And the problem is that you don't want to award the kind of movies that Jamie Lee Curtis has been making for the last 30 years, which puts you in a shitty position like you're in this spot where you love Jamie Lee Curtis, you love her parents, everybody in Hollywood loves Jamie Lee Curtis, and now we're going to give her an Oscar, which again is fine in a vacuum, but what you really did was take away the Oscar from two more deserving women that were sitting there that happened to be women of color, which makes the discourse worse. And it just was a bad moment for them. It was just a bad moment.
To me, the argument comes down to, okay, well, it's a legacy Oscar. Well, wouldn't it be a legacy Oscar for Angela fucking Bassett?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Who they've already done this to.
Nominated. Yeah, who they already nominated. She has a nomination under her belt. We know that matters.
From like 20 years ago.
Yeah, we know that matters because people take that into account. Oh, well, you didn't get yours here. Let me give you yours now. Jamie Lee Curtis has never been nominated, not to say that she hasn't made great films, but it's not like go down her list of her IMDb. It's not like she's been in the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah, she ain't Angela Bassett. Like,
yes. And look, Angela Bassett is in like 200 episodes of 911. So it's not like she's out here making high art all the time either. But I'm just saying she has the if you want to talk about career length and career depth and breadth and impact, she already has that. So the argument that like, let's give it to Jamie Lee Curtis for the 5th best role in this movie is insanity. And on top of that, to me, I would have given it to Stephanie Sue just over everyone. That's my ballot who I would have given it to. She played 18 different characters in that movie.
And was dope as all of them.
Yeah.
And I think she had the best performance of, like, if you're just picking just based on the performance, obviously we just said legacy stuff matters. But if we're just going by performance, I don't even think it's a question that it's Stephanie Sue. I don't even think it's a question, bro.
Yeah. So giving it, that's why people are understandably big mad online, and why I was irritated, because it is kind of weird. It's just weird and gross that they look, as soon as Jamie Lee Curtis, I know she didn't go into this thinking that she won an Oscar, but as soon as the narrative started that, hey, maybe let's just nominate her for a few things like Golden Globes, campaign started churning. She was out.
And I don't blame her for that, by the way.
No,
that.
Everybody from that movie was outside for months, so I don't.
And that's why they dominated. Everyone loves them. They were everywhere together all the time. Like,
none of them have seen their families in at least 3 months. Like, they've been everywhere, bro. They've been literally everywhere at every event, every award show. They've shown up. They did the dirt. They they did everything they had to do, and so they were able to garner that success. But I agree with what Dex said. This is the only one of these 7 that they won that I took even remotely an issue with, just because
Right.
the movie's that good, and it was also super dope to see the Daniels go, like see the like one of the Daniels wore like a bargain bin suit that he got from like a Salvation Army or some shit like that. Like those dudes are just cool. One of them is up there talking about how he has, like self-esteem issues. That's just not stuff that you generally see, and it was just really cool to see somebody different in different kind of movies and different kind of people get recognized. And that's unfortunately the only way that you're going to be able to keep people interested in the Oscars, other than a sickos who will watch it either way, because you need to reward movies like this. You just need to acknowledge them.
Chalk up a win for the millennials, baby. We're here.
Millennial movie nerds, baby. We
got it. We finally
This shit premiered at South by Southwest like a year ago, and people were like, "Oh, this is the one. This is some fire shit right here. We need to get everyone in the movie theaters to go see this."
100 on Rotten Tomatoes.
They rolled it out to like 3 theaters at a time over the course of like 2 months, and like it just kept building steam and building steam. Movie nerds were outside like us, being like, "This is one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. I fucking love this. This is delightful," and it just like maintained that momentum for a calendar year to dominate the Oscars. Just all of us just being like, "Yeah, this movie fucking bangs. Like everything about this is dope."
And I don't want to hear any hubbub about this, because what did y'all want? Y'all wanted the old people to take over, and y'all want All Quiet to win Best Picture?
Yeah,
like that's what would have happened 10 years ago.
Yeah. Or Elvis, boo.
Or Elvis.
Yeah,
like a Tar would have been fine.
Can I take
Tar would Well, no, look, I'll tell. So why people are going to look back on this, and obviously, I think we think that Tar is going to probably be the film that's best remembered for this. But I said this on a podcast, and I believe that y'all agreed with me that like it's the most cynical film of the year.
100%.
And we just don't. It just, as time has shown, since the pandemic, after the Parasite win, it is tough to give cynical films the Oscar for best picture.
People want good vibes.
Yeah, people want to be happy. And that's kind of what A24 is capitalized on. And people were like, well, how does this happen? How does a movie, a genre film, a sci-fi like Everything Everywhere All at Once happen and have the sort of unbelievable boulder rolling down the hill momentum that it has? And it's not from it's not from one of these huge studios. It doesn't have all this money. People act like A24, we keep saying it, hasn't been outside for like the past 10 years
They've been doing this for a decade now. Like they kind of know how to run a campaign.
Already have another Best Picture win under their belt.
Facts.
Yeah. So it seems to me that people need to start looking at A24 as the North Star for this stuff, instead of being like, well, how did A24 do it? Well, no, just look at, like, they said, all right, people love your movie, go. You know what I mean?
Facts.
So
I mean, Netflix has 0 Best Picture, and Netflix is huge, and they have never won Best Picture ever.
And I hope they never do.
That's that seems like a lot of disrespect. No disrespect. I hope
they never do.
I hope they never do.
Fuck. Hope your business folds.
I don't even think Amazon Prime had a movie that was like nominated anywhere near the Big 5 awards. Like Amazon Prime was just MIA from the entire.
They're focused on they're focused on making Jack Reacher TV shows. Like they don't care.
Yeah, they're just trying to be. They're focused on fucking sports streaming at this point. They're buying the Pac-12.
But that is true. After we saw Apple with A24.
I mean, they just won Best Picture last year, or Apple won Best Picture last year.
But A24 was the studio behind that as well too. So, but Apple didn't have anything. None of the streamers really. I mean, I guess it's disingenuous to say that Netflix didn't win anything when literally All Quiet on the Western Front, which we'll talk about, cleaned up the below the line awards.
Yep.
So they get to tout that on their flash screen that it won 6 Oscars or whatever it is. But take your victory lap, Tej. What were you going to say?
It's time to talk about Elvis, guys.
Real quick, before we talk about Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once won every award basically that it was nominated for. It went 7 for 11. So it won Screenplay, Motion Picture of the Year, Achievement in Directing, performance by Michelle Yeoh in a leading role, Jamie Lee Curtis, supporting actress, Kiwi Kwan, which we talked about, supporting actor, and then best film editing by Paul Rogers, who somehow is the hottest editor of all time.
His second movie ever, by the way.
Yeah. And so this is also the second time that a person of color has won Best Actress. There was a good moment between Michelle Yeoh and Halle Berry on stage.
Yep.
And I think we'll probably talk about Michelle Yeoh further down the line. But take your Elvis lap. I just had to tell you what all they dominated in.
So obviously, I, and as a certified movie boy sicko, was very sad to see the Fabelmans and Tar go over, and Triangle of Sadness, by the way, which I watched after our last episode, but I fucking love Triangle of Sadness. It didn't win anything. That's fine. But I have told y'all from the goddamn beginning on this podcast that there are two movies that are going to be in the dirt when it was time to come to the Oscars, and those two movies were Elvis, which is ass, and Banshees of Inisherin, which is just okay. And lo and behold, those films didn't win anything. Elvis especially didn't win anything. Austin Butler somehow coughed up a 37-point lead in the fourth quarter. I don't know how he did that. I don't know how that happened, but I was glad that it happened. And Elvis is in the dirt. And let this be a lesson to you, Tom Hanks, that maybe you shouldn't sign up for unserious cinema anymore. And you should stop doing this, because Tom Hanks, your last 10 movies, if I read them online, are not great, bros. And I need you to get it together. And I don't hate Austin Butler. I think Austin Butler is going to be a star. I think he's magnetic. I think he's a great actor. I just didn't want to award him for being an Elvis. Now we never have to hear him talk like Elvis again. And that is a win for humanity as a whole. And I am happy for us. And it was a great, great moment in history when Best Actor was done. And I realized, oh shit, Elvis is going to go over. It's not winning no costumes. It's not winning no makeup. It's not winning shit. And maybe making him appear a little fatter at the end of the movie would have got them award, except for another movie also made someone appear fat, and they took the makeup award instead. So Elvis is in the dirt.
Yeah, it would have been interesting. That was the one thing that it came down to, but it was Best Actor. It would have been. I know Dex doesn't like that award going to Brendan Fraser for The Whale, but it also would have been the 7th time in the last 10 Oscars that somebody was awarded Best Actor for playing a real person.
Yeah.
So let's get that narrative out of there, please.
Wait, is The Whale not a real person? Like the person that The Whale is about, is that not a real person?
No. It's based on a play.
Holy shit, that makes that movie even worse. I thought it was about a real person.
That movie is so bad, dude. Fuck that movie, man. That's the only problem that I have, is that Brendan Fraser, obviously great in the movie. Congratulations to him. Legacy Oscar win. We talked about why that's okay, whatever. But dude, that movie just stinks. And it seems like the people most passionate about Brendan Fraser finally winning an Oscar didn't watch that movie. You know what I'm saying?
They watched The Mummy.
Yeah.
I love The Mummy. I too love The Mummy.
Our boy Garrett from Apollo Media, shout out. I was on the Oscars live stream with him last night. He was literally crying when Brendan Fraser won because he loves Brendan Fraser so much. He's the #1 Brendan Fraser stan. Wears a mummy hat most of the time when I see him. Never watched The fucking Whale.
Oh no!
What are we doing?
I didn't even attempt to watch The Whale.
You know what?
It wasn't even on my radar.
You know what?
It stinks.
Good for him. Don't ruin. Don't ruin. He won the Oscar. That's all you need to know. Don't ruin the image of him on stage with that Oscar for yourself. That's all you. That's it. That's fine.
So yeah, that's my only thing. People can say what they want to about Elvis, the movie, but you watched it, and Austin Butler was dope in it. And it's a much better movie than The Whale. I'm sorry.
I got on this podcast and said I actually enjoyed Elvis. Did I think that he was ever going to win Best Actor for doing a fake Elvis voice? I was shocked when he was starting to get all that awards hype, but the olds got on were deep.
Look, bro,
the olds were deep.
Rami Malek still owes Bradley Cooper an Oscar, so I figured Austin Butler had a good shot at it.
That is facts now.
I don't want to call out my parents on this, but they did text me in the middle of the night the other night. And we're like, Elvis is incredible. Austin Butler needs to win an Oscar. I was like, well, he very well might.
God. I got a little bit nervous, and Dex Dex was strong throughout. He was.
I
through
told
and through.
y'all.
He knew everything, everywhere, all at once was going to sweep. I started to get scared. Obviously, there was about an hour of the broadcast where All Quiet on the Western Front was fucking winning literally every award that came up on the screen. They went on a hot streak. They cut the lead to 7 before we called the timeout. But when it really happened was when they got to adapted screenplay, and I was like, oh shit, okay, this is not a below the line award. Like if they win adapted screenplay, All Quiet might win Best Picture.
Right.
But of course, that went to Women Talking, which I thought was a phenomenal choice there.
Well
and
deserved.
that's when I knew. That's when I was like, okay, Dexter's right. We never had to worry about anything. They're fucking sweeping this shit, and they basically did sweep all the big categories.
So Best Original Screenplay went to Everything Everywhere All at Once,
Yep.
which shocked me because I thought if Tar was going to win anything besides Best Actress, it was probably going to be that. And also, but Martin McDonagh is a huge Banshees of Inisherin, he wrote Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah.
He is a huge playwright and has won an Oscar, so I figured it may go to him as well. But like you said, they cleaned up there. But yeah, it goes to Women Talking to Sarah Polley, who
great speech, by the way.
Yeah, who gave a great speech, gave one of the more impassioned speeches, and she I didn't know is a longtime actor.
Yep.
I don't know why, I just didn't put 2 and 2 together. Like Dawn of the Dead, like she's the main character in that, and everything. People will recognize her from. But yeah, Sarah Polley.
Yeah, I was watching with Garrett and Noah last night, and they were like, Sarah Polley, the girl from Dawn of the Dead.
Right, it's
like,
really
what
crazy.
the fuck are you talking about?
She'd also been nominated in that category before for Best Adapted Screenplay. Didn't
really
win.
for what?
I believe a 2008 film.
I didn't know that.
Let's see. No, go ahead. What did y'all saw Women Talking? I didn't get to it in the theaters. What did you?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that they were able to bring like moments of jokes and levity to a movie with that subject matter. I could not, but I was blown away. Women Talking is a funnier movie than Cocaine Bear. And I'm not saying that in jest. I actually laughed more at Women Talking. But Women Talking is obviously a very, very serious movie, but they were able to create moments between the characters that you were supposed to laugh at. It wasn't just like me being an asshole in the theater laughing. Like there are jokes in the movie, which is crazy because the movie's about maybe the most serious topic that you can come up with in a movie, like literally about the plight of women. So I just found it fascinating that it was written in that way. And I thought the award here was apt just because of the way that it was written. I was the opposite. I thought that Tar was going to win Best Director. I thought Todd Fields was going to win there. And then Everything Everywhere was going to win Best Picture. So I just
Daniels
knew
have
Tar was
been
gonna get
cleaning
something.
up. The Daniels have been cleaning up at the DGAs and everything else. Sarah Polley was nominated for Away From Her, Best Adapted Screenplay in 2008. Speaking of Cocaine Bear, that was the only bit they did during the entire show. They brought out Elizabeth
Banks with
a guy in a bear suit, which was
And
way
no
funnier
voice.
than that entire movie.
Yeah, facts.
That bit was funnier than that entire movie. And I don't know why Elizabeth Banks had no voice, but it kind of added to the aesthetic. Like maybe she was up doing cocaine all night. Like maybe her and the bear were just hanging out. I enjoyed it.
You can pry this Oscar nomination out of my cold, dead hands.
Also, speaking of bits, how do we feel about Jimmy? Is it Kimmel?
Yes.
Kimmel
Yeah, we've
guy?
gone this far without talking about it. I thought that
He wasn't on screen that much. Like
no, he wasn't on stage.
He really wasn't.
They really took their time with like these nominations, and really they would read out nominations two at a time. And it was like he did his opening monologue, which was, a long 14-minute opening monologue, which I thought was actually not bad. I
thought it was pretty good, man. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I thought it was pretty good.
I am sorry, it's me, traditionalist, that likes hosts at these shows. We've said on this podcast in previous episodes that they don't need it, but I don't know. I like a guy getting up there and razzing famous people.
Yeah. For me, the only thing I don't like about hosts is when they do the whole, awards don't matter.
Why are we here?
This is so dumb. I hate it here. Like
the Ricky Gervais special.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Stop coming then if you don't like it.
I did feel like maybe some of the jokes were a little over the line, but not a lot. Talking about the family trauma of the Fableman family / Spielberg family was a little
To
weird.
his face.
To his face, I thought that was a little strange. The Tom Cruise joke was fucking awesome. L. Ron Hubba Hubba, that was
Hubba.
fucking awesome. It would have been much better if Tom Cruise is in the audience looking angry, because Tom Cruise doesn't seem like the type that would take a joke well about himself or his religion or whatever you call
No
Scientology.
way he would have said it if he knew he was coming. No way.
No way. No way. I don't
Tom
think he would have
Cruise
said
would walk
either
up
if he
there
knew
and
he was
slap
gonna be
him.
there. But I thought Kimmel was good, and I thought I frankly thought, especially in that kind of middle hour of the show where things started to really slow down, we were doing the technical awards, I thought they could have really used him a little bit more there. But you know, these things are. I enjoy the Oscars no matter how entertaining the show is. Just seeing famous people and rich people. And we got Lady Gaga and Rihanna at the Oscars. Like, what? Like, there's nothing much more they have to do for me. Like, Lady Gaga walked on stage in a fucking t-shirt. And was like, all right, it's time to perform. And I was like, this woman's a goddamn queen. That's
after she walked
flex.
the red carpet in like the full, like,
in a gown
and makeup and all that. She was like, you know, fuck all that. I'm gonna go back on stage and perform in a t-shirt and a Dutch braid real quick. Like, bring the house down.
She came on in the PacSun Elite. Like, she,
ripped jeans, like, yeah, just out here vibing, stripped down performance of like one of the biggest songs from the biggest movie of the year.
I know a lot of people like I don't take or leave the performances of all the songs. I know there's a lot of people that don't like it. There's a lot of people that's the only reason that they would maybe watch the Oscars, but like it does slow the show down.
Very much.
To all five, there was 6 performances, I guess, if you count the in memoriam, and it was just like, all right, like now let's take a break to sing a song. But also, that wasn't the most egregious thing that slowed the show down. There was a weird ad break in the middle for Warner Brothers.
Bro, thank God that you brought this up. This is nasty, bro. Not only did we get a random Warner Brothers clip that was introduced, by the way, by Margot Robbie. Why are you having Margot? I know she's in Barbie.
And Morgan Freeman.
But Morgan Freeman and Margot Robbie are much better than, let me go out to toss to the WB commercial. But that's not even what was the worst. The worst was when they brought out Melissa McCarthy and Halle Bailey to introduce a fucking trailer from the stage. Look, I know Disney owns ABC. I know the Oscars are
synergy, baby.
Put on ABC. That is nasty as hell, bro. First of all, that trailer looked fucking garbage. All right,
looks
and
bad.
I say that as someone who's going to see this movie no matter what. That trailer looked fucking garbage. First of all, second of all, put your trailer in the commercials like everybody else. Don't use these famous people in their time to introduce a commercial in a trailer. That doesn't even make any sense. I thought that was super nasty. I understand it's Hollywood. You got to make your money, but put it in the commercials like everybody else. And if we're going to do a random ad for Warner Brothers, I guess you call that an ad. I don't know what the fuck you would call that. Are we doing that for every studio? I didn't
Paramount?
See an A24 commercial. Yeah. I didn't see a Paramount commercial. I didn't see a Netflix segment. Like, I found it to be so weird. And now that it's a precedent, is every studio in the country trying to talk to the Oscars right now, trying to get their little 2-minute hit for next year? Are we going to see 10 of those next year for every movie studio or every major streamer? I thought that was weird. I thought it was extremely weird and definitely slowed the show down. We didn't need that shit at all. Margot Robbie deserved better than that shit. I know she's in Barbie. She had to do it, but fuck that shit. We're going to see Barbie either way. You didn't need to do that shit.
It was so weird. Like now, I thought, okay, are they doing a retrospective of Hollywood for all these major studios that are still around? Paramount, Columbia, all those, MGM, which is now just Amazon. But like, are we doing that for every? Nope. Just Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers made it weird. Warner Brothers made it weird. Like if it was Disney, okay, cool. Like y'all own this. That makes sense. But like to do also Warner Brothers, it's just weird. I don't get it.
Well, they didn't even do like this is a retrospective of Disney. No, it was just Warner Brothers. Like tossing to the commercial, Tej, I know you didn't like it. You said it was nasty. It is nasty. I am so over. Like I've become at peace with integrated brand content.
Same.
I've become one with with whatever this is that we're doing.
Yeah.
It's literally like Blade Runner 2049. Like I'm just seeing ads no matter where I go. It doesn't matter. So that didn't bother me, other than the fact that that movie looks garbage.
What's up with that movie? Why does it
It
look
looks
so
bad, man. I don't know. And I hate to crap on it before it comes out, but I don't, whatever. Yeah, just a hey, we paid to have WB broadcast, but we won't like pay to keep TV shows on our streaming service.
nasty? They shelved Batgirl, but it's like, hey, let's spend some money to get a little Oscar shine. And like release the Batgirl Cup, bros. We want to see it. Maybe it's bad. I
That was
still
a
want to see
funny joke by
Somebody-
Kimmel, was
That was
that
a
it
great
was the
joke.
only superhero ever killed by accountants.
it.
Also,
Awesome.
the Robert Blake joke got me, man. Like,
Ooh.
that-
Yo.
Okay, I don't know who
good
Robert
Lord.
Blake is, so I didn't understand that joke. Who's
Go ahead,
Robert Blake?
Dex.
He's an actor, like he was famous. I guess he was like in the Little Rascals back in the day, and like
He was
had a
in the
career
60s
for, like,
and 70s.
decades. Yeah,
He was
and then
in
was
Cold
accused
Blood.
of
Got
was
it.
accused of killing his wife, but got acquitted. But everyone still thinks he killed his wife. So
And he just
Just
died.
died.
Jesus.
I mean, he died like last week. And they were
Yeah.
like, is he in
Jesus.
the memorial?
So yeah,
Was
Jimmy
he in
Kimmel
there?
was like,
No.
no, he wasn't. Jimmy Kimmel was like, yeah, take out your phones. You can text to vote. Should Robert Blake be in the in memorial?
Well, he was. Thank God he wasn't actually in there. Or that joke would have been awkward as hell.
Continuing this, not to like bring that down or anything, but like Charlby is how do you pronounce her name?
I actually don't
Charles
know.
B. Dean Creek.
Yeah, Charlby Dean was not who was one of the leads of Triangle of Sadness. Was not in the in memoriam. She died, I would say, prematurely I think at like 32.
Yeah, she died before the movie even came out.
Yeah, before the movie came out. She was very young. And
Didn't put her in there.
it died suddenly. She was sick, and she wasn't in the in memoriam, which a lot of people took notice of immediately on Twitter. My only thought to that is that she wasn't, because she was, I believe, British, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not, but
South African.
South African. Okay. My only thought is that she wasn't in the American Academy yet by the time that she died.
Maybe that's what they did.
That's my only thing. That otherwise, it's a terrible oversight by the Academy.
Yeah, she's in one of your Best Picture nominees. Like that was a bit strange. And by the way, her performance in Triangle of Sadness is just great.
It is good.
That's a weird movie, but
And that's how
kind of
that's how I found out she died. Like, because I feel like that didn't really get as much press as you would think it would. But I watched Triangle of Sadness, and I was like, "Oh, this chick is really good. I wonder what else she's in." And then, like, I Googled her and like found out she
I literally
died.
did
I
the
was
same
like,
thing.
"What the
Right
fuck?"
after the movie, I was like, "Let me look at the cast," and it was like headline, like, "Oh, she's gone." Like I was trying to look them up because I thought her and the lead actor did a great job, but they didn't win any awards and they didn't put her in the in memoriam, so that kind of sucked.
Very strange.
Yeah. To be fair to them, though, like you said, she probably wasn't in the Academy when she died, and also like they had a lot of people who died this year, like
A whole lot.
So yeah, I didn't scan the QR code in the moment because I don't scan QR codes off my TV. That's not a thing I will ever do. But if you
there has to be some data that shows that works.
if you go online, like they had like the full like list of
if you scan the QR code,
was
apparently you could see the
long.
full list of people, and she was on the full list, but not the televised list. But Lenny Kravitz sounded great. I
Best performance
Speaking
of
of
the
which-
night, besides Not To.
Speaking of which, apologies. I love Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's a phenomenal film. Those people that got on that stage to sing that song sounded fucking horrible.
That was
And
terrible.
It was awful. Like, come on, bros. Like, I don't love the performances. Like, even Rihanna, who's the sexiest woman I've ever seen in my life, was singing that song for Black Panther that I don't really care for.
That song
Tim's was
stinks.
up there. Like, I just didn't care. Like, I loved seeing Tim's and Rihanna because they're just the two most gorgeous women I've ever seen. But that song fucking stinks. And Not To was cool. But if you've seen RRR, what happened on the stage was literally nothing compared to like seeing it in the context of the movie. Seeing it in the context of the movie was mind blowing, just because of the stuff they were able to accomplish with the choreography and the dancing. And so, just seeing people just like do a stage version of that was like the most unappealing thing ever. I would have had more fun if we literally just played the Naatu scene from the movie, which should replace these performances. But I know they want famous musicians to show up at the Oscars. Why don't we just bring them on the stage and then play the clip of the movie or the song in context from the movie? Obviously, that's hard because not every song that's nominated is actually in the movie, but Naatu is literally in the movie and is the best part of the movie. Just play the movie.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The Naatu performance made me want to go watch RRR, which I have not done yet. But like,
so you have to go see that shit.
And I will, because that performance was dope as fuck. And I was like, I want to see what this looks like in the movie because this shit is sick. Like,
I tweeted that last night. That should have Naatu, which did win for Best Original Song, should have won for Best Original Song simply for the fact they used it in the goddamn movie. Use the songs in the movies. What are we doing?
Facts. And we don't need end credits like the Rihanna song is in the end credits. The Bond song was in the end credits. They love to just toss it in the end credits. Like, oh, it's in there. And it's like, no. If it's in the movie, it should get bonus points in bonus votes. If it's actually in the movie.
I'll tell you what, I'll take a title song like James Bond, where they do the entire title sequences and they create something for the movie. Just having the title scroll on a black screen while Lift Me Up plays.
While the song
no
plays.
Thanks.
Also, Lift Me Up is not good, but that's neither here nor there.
That's true.
And look, all due respect to Diane Warren. I'm sure she's a great lady. But fam, nobody is watching these movies that she's getting nominated for, dude. No one has heard of these fucking songs. Like, why does she keep getting nominated every
literally? I was
year?
like, wait, this song is from a film? Because I swear to God, I've never heard this movie, and I've never heard this song before in my life.
Like
ever.
Three of the most online movie-loving people you will ever meet in your life. None of us even once considered watching whatever fucking movie that was that Diane Warren was nominated.
I didn't know it was a movie.
Like,
Tell It Like a Woman in 2022 American Italian anthology film. Sure.
I think
nobody
they made that up.
cares
I think
about
they made
that
that
song.
up to
Like,
get one
and
more
Diane Warren
performance.
gets nominated for a song every fucking year, and all of them are in movies.
When you go to box office and critical reception, it is empty on Wikipedia.
Yeah, because no one's ever heard of this movie. Because I think it's a plant movie. Because they were like, we don't have Diane Warren this year. They were like, just write anything next to her name. She'll just get up there and sing something.
So yeah, RRR wins best original song. It should have. Was it nominated in best foreign film?
No, I don't think it was.
It should have been. I'm shocked that it wasn't. But
were there any notable snubs for you?
For me,
other than what we already talked about, best supporting actors, we already talked about that.
Snubs not nominated. RRR probably should have been nominated. Like, if we're just being honest with ourselves, I guess Dex dropped, but so if we're just being honest with ourselves, that should have won. No, I think Tar not getting anything is a tough look. I just,
it's gonna age badly. It's gonna age poorly. It just will.
But I had people texting me, and because they know that I'm logged on to watch. I'm watching. If they're Academy Awards, I'm in there. But like they text me, "You're the movie guy. Like, how the hell did Top Gun only win Best Sound?" Hold on. Yeah, so they're like, "How the hell did it only win Best Sound?" And I just said it should have been nominated in several other categories, including Best Cinematography, which it wasn't, shockingly.
I can't believe they didn't get a cinematography nomination. That's insane to me.
Insane to me. But it also was bad matchups down the board for that movie. If you just look at it, like, we all love Top Gun. I said it was my top film of the year. It literally saved movie theaters, according to Steven Spielberg,
and brought America together.
Yeah, but it just, when you look at it in its totality versus these other pieces of art, which I'm not saying Top Gun isn't, it just didn't stack up to what it was nominated for. You know what I mean?
In most years, if something like that happens, Top Gun's going to have a lot of support. But unfortunately for Top Gun, Everything All at Once was the lighthearted, good feeling movie that brought people together. Like, that movie was actually the one that got those votes for those people that are voting down that line. And so that really harmed them, that Everything Everywhere All at Once was already in there. Obviously, they made more money than that film, and they spent way more money than that film, but that kind of split the vote in terms of the heartwarming vote. All seemed to go to Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Top Gun never really got off the ground, no pun intended, with its Oscar campaign. And Tom Cruise showed up to a couple things, but he wasn't outside like the cast of Everything Everywhere All at Once. They were everywhere. Like they were literally everywhere.
I think if Tom Cruise would have showed up to more things, but he doesn't put himself, because of his weird past, if we're just keeping it a buck, like because of his weird religious affiliations
and his weird presence.
Yeah, and his presence.
He's
And
just weird.
he's very whatever PR agent he hired post jumping on Oprah's couch has got him media trained to a T. So he does not make appearances. He just doesn't, because it's almost like we limit the appearances. So
less chance he does
less
something
chance we
fucking
just limit it.
crazy.
And it's worked so far for rehabbing whatever presence that he had of being this 90s movie star that we knew came to know and love. And now he's the biggest star again on the planet. That being said, he probably would have been nominated for several Oscars, and this movie would have been nominated for several more Oscars and one more than Best Sound if he showed up.
Some stuff.
Because everyone credits it for saving movie theaters. Yeah, so I don't know.
Dex, were there any snubs for you outside of Best Supporting Actress?
I can't call it a snub, but I feel like Cate Blanchett should have won for Best Actress.
She should have won. Should have is a
I'm so
should
split on
have.
that.
It's what to me she's
I'm so split on
to me, like her performance is better, but like I understand rewarding Michelle Yeoh for what she did and who she is, and like the fact that Cate Blanchett already has 2 Oscars. Like I'm not upset about it because Cate Blanchett already has the 2 Oscars. Like she's stamped, she's certified, everyone knows what it is, But man,
and she punted.
Kate
Blanchett is a queen. She read the defense and she punted. She goes, "There's this movie mostly full of people of color that's going to be highly nominated, and there's this talented force of an actress who happens to have a great performance in the center of the movie,
and is the homie,
is nominated and like has never won an Oscar before." And I think that Kate did what she had to do. She showed up to the stuff. She kept her Oscar connects on her side. She didn't step on any toes with the committee. But I really do think she punted on this Oscar. I think she saw what it looked like. I think she saw what it would look like if she were to win in that Oscar and what that kind of media storm would be like. And she punted this Oscar.
I don't agree with that.
I definitely think that's what
I
she
don't.
did.
I think it was an unforced error. I think she punted.
You think she tried to win it and fumbled it?
I think she punted. I
Wow.
think she punted when it was, when a coach punts on like, I don't know, the 40
it was like
yard
4th
line.
and 3 from the 40.
Yeah, when Matt Patricia would punt from like the 40 for the Lions. Yeah, I think because look, if she wins, she has 3 acting awards. She is now Meryl Streep.
If she wins, she would have been deserving. Like the performance was there. She's deserving.
She is now in the same breath as Meryl Streep. Frances McDormand. I know people like go back and forth on her personality, but she has 3 acting wins, so she's in the same conversation too as one of the best actors of all time. If she wins, it also cements that performance, which we all love, as one of the top 10 performances of the past decade, if not top 5, and
top 1 for me.
And I just think that it was an unforced error. I think she kind of got up there and was thanking Michelle Yeoh in her speeches, and then was like,
she wasn't. That's on purpose.
She also deserves to win these awards. Like, she's showing too much humility, and I just don't know if she actually read the defense like you said, like that, like Tom Brady in his prime. It was like, I'm just gonna throw this one out of bounds. I don't think so.
I think she knows that she's going to win. Like she has plenty of time to win another one. Obviously, you never know, but like I think that she saw what the potential landscape looked like, and she was just like, I don't think that this is one that I'm gonna push hard for because of the dynamics. I think the racial dynamics unfortunately played a role in how she saw how hard she thought she should campaign. And I thought she tried maybe she tried to play the middle ground and it did end up hurting her. But I feel like she's smarter than that, and it was more intentional than just like playing the middle ground and
I don't know. Punting on a Best Actress Oscar is a tough look, no matter why you're doing it.
When you have two,
I mean, that's true.
Like it's
but you have two, and you are the LeBron James, you are the Giannis of your time. Like, you could get another one. It's just going to take the right director and the right script. And she's probably got 4 scripts sitting in her coffee table right now that she's like, I could probably get nominated from this. I could probably
also
do it.
Michelle Yeoh is the homie. So like, you know, like they were,
although
cool
she
as
did
fuck.
put out a Instagram thing that she had to delete that was like, give me my Oscar, basically.
Yeah, she already has so many. Let me have one.
Wait, I didn't see this. I heard about this, but I didn't see what it said. What did it say?
Basically that. I mean, we're being facetious, but it was a long paragraph. So it was a soliloquy of why I should win over Kate Blanchett on Instagram. And it was, she has a couple and I don't. Like, this is an award for women and Asian women everywhere. And I'm very much paraphrasing, but it was like, it's my time now. And it's that I'm like, whoa, like, y'all have been cool this entire campaign. Now you're just throwing her under the bus.
Kate, somebody came up to Kate and said, by the way, Kate, of the 95-year history of the Oscars, 2 women of color, 1 woman of color before the Oscars has ever won Best Picture or has ever won Best Actress. And Kate said, fuck this. I'm out.
Yeah, you're not gonna make me the bad guy.
You're not gonna make me the bad guy. I'm sorry. I have
I'm not gonna be the face of
100% approval rating across the board. I'm not gonna be the face of racism.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
I'm not doing
I am not gonna be the face of racism this year.
Put that on Jamie Lee Curtis.
Let her shoulder that. It's incredible. It's like Magic Johnson court vision. If she's called that, that's because most people have been like, nah, I'm getting it.
Nah, but she was like, hey, when y'all are doing your Oscars recap, y'all not gonna be able to say that I, Kate Blanchett, stole this award from this deserving woman of color. No.
I do think that she had the best performance, though. Like, I do think that is one of the best performances that we've seen in the last.
But
decade.
it's tough because
man or woman.
Michelle Yeoh, it's like we're sitting here going like, oh well, she should have won, but it's like 1A, 1B. It's not like Michelle Yeoh
was great.
Yeah, it's not like they gave it to fucking Ana de Armas.
But she went up
like
against 94 Jordan, like, or 93 Jordan. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, so it is what it is. Other than that, like the other categories, I was pretty fine with. It would have been nice to see Target to win somewhere, cinematography maybe, score, something.
Hey, you know what does live? My Babylon stinks agenda.
Hey, relax. All right.
Nothing.
Stop this. And and Jimmy Kimmel was making jokes about Babylon too, as if it's not the peak of cinema. I didn't like that.
Yeah, man, get the fuck out of here. No way Jimmy Kimmel watched all of Babylon, by the way.
Babylon should have won for score. I was very upset about that, but my snub was definitely Close in best foreign film. I love Close out of Belgium. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was the best movie that I saw all 5 of the international movies. And All Quiet's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And I like hearing sci-fi noises over the war movie. That was fucking awesome. I feel like that shit was amazing. I was doing that shit for 3 days after I watched the movie.
It's hard not to. It sticks with you, man.
It's really good. It really sticks with you. And they put it at the perfect times in the movie. Like, it just works. But I thought Close was the movie that should have won that award. And All Quiet was going to win pretty much every below the line award anyway. So I would have loved to give Close that win there. But, you know, All Quiet's going to be something that we remember. Are we going to remember All Quiet more than we're going to remember 1917? No, we're not, because 1917 is a superior film.
I also saw 1917 in the theater. If I got to
Same.
see All Quiet in the theater, maybe I would have had a different thought. But like,
that's
1917 was an incredible cinematic like event.
It's a ride.
Yeah, and this was more, I think, about just the horror of the story. I think 1917 almost comes off more like it's weird to say because of the horrors that are in that movie, but more of an adventure film because of the chase aspect of all of it.
Yeah.
But 19,
This is an anti-war. Like All Quiet's a very,
Anti-war.
very clear anti-war movie, and 1917 is not quite an anti-war movie.
Nah.
It is. It is
1917 is much more dudes rock than All Quiet. is.
Yes.
hey, can you believe he ran
Yes.
across all of France? That was nuts. No, I think that All Quiet. I was deeply affected by All Quiet. I know there's a lot of people on here that are like, All Quiet is actually bad online.
They're wrong.
I think they're wrong about it. I really enjoy that. I'm a big war film stan though, so it's like, it's you're asking the wrong person. But it is long, Tej. I did have to break it up a couple of times in my house.
It's a very long movie. The
it's
war
tough
ends.
to watch.
The war ends, and I looked. I was like, okay, the war's ending. Cool. And then I looked at the little thing, and I was
50
like,
more minutes.
"There's an hour left of this film.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?" And it was like, "Oh, we're trying to do it. We're down 45, but we're gonna run the Hail Mary flea flicker play. God damn it, this is gonna go so badly."
I would have liked
And
it
did.
way
It
more
went
if I saw it
horribly.
in theaters.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
It's a tough hang at home.
That's
Like-
fair. I saw it at home too, so that's fair.
It's tough when you've had 1 or 5 drinks and all of a sudden it's like he's drowning somebody in a puddle in a foxhole, and you're just like, oh god.
Also, bro, they like all those white people look exactly the same. Like
Yeah.
it's so hard.
I couldn't tell
So
anyone apart, bro.
hard.
Bro,
As a white guy, didn't know Adam from me. I didn't know anybody.
I was like, who the fuck is this? Like, have we met him already? Like, is this
The only way I could distinguish is like if they had a
we know
mustache or
him?
if they didn't have a mustache.
But yeah, All Quiet on the Western Front is good. And I'm glad it got the awards that it did.
It was the
But
other big winner on the night. So I
also
think
glad
won
that it
6
kind of
Oscars.
stayed out of the way.
big
of
Dune
Best Picture.
vibes. It's better than Dune. So, if
It
we're
is
gonna
better than Dune.
talk about movies that won all the below the line awards, we can talk about Dune, but Dune stinks and All Quiet is good.
And
it
I
won-
told y'all during the ceremony, I was like, stay calm.
Dune vibes.
Big Dune vibes. Everything everywhere all at once is still sweeping. Like, relax.
It won 4 Oscars: Best International Feature, Best Achievement in Music Written for Motion. That's when I was kind of like, actually, sorry, when it won Best Cinematography, I was like, ooh, okay,
Yep.
maybe. But it also reeled off like 4 in a row, or 4 of the bigger ones in a row. So that they kind of made the mistake of not breaking these things up with maybe an acting award or anything like that.
Actually, I think that
I
was
agree
like,
with
I
that.
think that was better because it made it feel more dramatic. Like, because even like all of us, we were saying, oh yeah, everything everybody wants is locked, like before the show. So, having that little run of All Quiet on the Western Front, like, kind of kept it a little spicy and a little bit of intrigue going into the final
Right.
couple of awards.
Um,
even though-
I got nervous there, so they did serve that purpose.
It won for Best Achievement in Music Written for Motion Picture, which we were saying. It for just doing just burn when that hits for the first time, like
It's just it's
you're like,
amazing,
what?
man.
That became
It's-
it also went viral. It became a big TikTok sound for a long time.
Also, they
It
played
did?
it. They played it at the Oscars last night, like a couple of times, and I was like, every time it scared the fuck out of me. I was like, oh shit, like what is going on?
I think if we're gonna
It kind of sounds like the Annihilation. Like the Annihilation kind of uses similar. Like it's so sci-fi, and just putting that in a war movie was just like extremely effective. The first time it dropped, I was like, oh, that's really dope. Like what a great thing to put into a war movie to really spice things up. I thought that was a great decision.
so it wins for Best Original Score. Poor John Williams, 91-year-old John Williams. They hauled him out there. He has now won 5 Oscars, but lost 56.
God damn, when you say it like that, holy shit.
He's the biggest loser in Oscars history, John Williams.
That's the youngest looking 91-year-old man I've ever seen.
So yeah, he lost.
Judd Hirsch looks 30 years older than John Williams, and Judd Hirsch is like 3 years younger than John Williams.
Yeah. John Williams loses for The Fabelmans is interesting. I think if we're looking back on it, even though Babylon, that score is kind of a deconstruction of the La La Land score.
Yep. it is.
That Voodoo Mama hits, man. I
That's-
listened to that.
That's the score I
independent of the movie.
listen to. Yeah, like the other ones are not fucking getting burned on my Apple Music. Like, no disrespect.
No.
As great as the
So
All Quiet score is, this ain't like I'm looking that shit up to listen to it. You know,
That's the weirdness that I was left with, because All Quiet was probably the most affecting score during a movie that I saw this year. That I was like, holy shit! I like every time they dropped those notes, like I noticed it every time, and it hit every time. But the Babylon soundtrack, I could put that shit on Spotify and rock that shit, and it's great, and it's just perfect, and it brings me to the moment immediately as soon as I hear that stuff. I also really love the Triangle of Sadness score. It did not get nominated, but I love what they did with that movie. What a weird movie. A lot of poo, a lot of puke, which is definitely nasty, not my kind of hang. But outside of the puke and the poo, for which happened for about 30 minutes too long, I had a great time.
also Tar not getting a nomination for sound or score or anything seems crazy. But
I couldn't believe it was nominated for sound. I was in a movie theater literally saying, why did this movie sound so perfect when they're going from quiet to the all of a sudden
Lydia Tar's like fucking hitting you in the face with music, dude.
Away,
like shit was amazing.
I couldn't believe it didn't get nominated.
It was never going to win over Top Gun Maverick, though.
That's fine, but like a nomination,
maybe, but it should have been nominated.
Come on.
Best cinematography goes to All Quiet on the Western Front. It was a weird category because it, Bardo, Elvis, Empire of Light, a movie which it's Roger Deakins, also a huge Oscar loser. We love you, Mr. Deakins, but also a big Oscars loser.
Roger Deakins.
The Academy didn't even watch Empire of Light. They just said Deakins did it.
Get him in there.
We got to bring it. Get him in there.
They watched the trailer and they're like, that looks good.
This looks great.
So All Quiet wins for that. I said of the ones nominated, I think it probably should have won. I mean, people love Tar. That also could have won, but just why didn't we nominate? I talked about this when Dex was off. Why didn't we nominate Top Gun? Why didn't we do that?
They hate America.
Because apparently it's easy to shoot fighter jets. Yeah. Like it's easy to just like present them and put them on film. Apparently,
technology to go into these jets. Okay,
but
sure.
They gave it
apparently
like a best visual effects nomination, so I don't know if that's like a. I get like there's not really any crossover between those except All Quiet, so maybe that's what they were thinking. Like the visual effects are great, but not the cinematography. I don't know.
Visual effects went to Avatar. Okay, cool. Moving on.
Yeah, we knew that was going to happen. That was probably the biggest layup of the night.
Right.
Like they spent about $90 bajillion on the visual effects in Avatar. I'm pretty sure they did that specifically to get
also, James Cameron couldn't be bothered to show up either. He's like, whatever. I don't have to do this.
What a bitch. I hate you, James Cameron. What? You ruined my life by getting your film nominated for Best Picture when there were more deserving movies out there, and you couldn't even have the fucking audacity to show up off your goddamn couch and your big ass pile of money. James Cameron, I hate you, brother. I hate you. I was so mad that he wasn't there. I was so
retweet.
Mad.
Thank you for inventing Terminator 2.
No notes.
No
Perfect
notes.
rant from Teach.
Yeah. Well done. Kind of a interesting. It wasn't an upset or anything, but it is interesting that Ruthie Carter wins for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever for costume design. She wanted it twice for the same movie.
Black Panther 1 and 2.
Yeah, thought it was awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. More Oscar wins than Tar and The Fabelmans combined.
Yep.
That's crazy, man. I'm sorry. And I like Black Panther too, but Tar is Fabelmans is real. The Fabelmans didn't even get close to winning.
Oh, it wasn't even.
There were times where I thought Tar was going to sneak in somewhere. The Fabelmans did not.
The Irishman was closer to winning an Oscar than the Fabelmans.
Facts, which is crazy to say, but true.
So best makeup and hairstyling goes to The Whale, movie that Dex loves.
I'm sorry. We need to not be giving the best makeup Oscar to putting fat suits on people. I'm sorry.
And it's literally just that one dude. Like there's nobody else in that movie has any kind of crazy makeup and or hairstyling. It's just him looking fat. That's it.
They were on the Black Panther suit set. They had to make 50 black people and 37 people that were underwater look like something. And instead, they were like, "No, you're gonna lose to somebody who just made one man."
I'm not gonna lie to you. I would have given it to the Batman.
I'm with that.
Nobody
deserved an Oscar.
Nobody knew that was Colin Farrell.
Yeah, exactly. Like I am with that.
That's true.
So yeah, a production design, All Quiet on the Western Front. We said that. Yeah,
I
original
don't know what
song, Nazi
production
Nazi.
design means, to be honest with you. So
Building the sets,
great job.
building the sets, and populating it with things that look like it belongs there.
They did
I
the
will give
hell
them
out
that.
of
Their
that.
production design looked great.
I felt like I was in them
but
trenches.
did it look better than the production? Did it look better than the production design of when we saw Margot Robbie on doing silent films and then doing sound films? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. There was no underground fight club in All Quiet on the
There
Western
was
Front,
not.
but there was an underground fight club in
Well,
certain movies.
I mean,
this
I guess
year. I will not name.
I guess
them,
the
but-
whole movie for All Quiet on the Western Front is an underground fight club. If you talk about the trenches, it's all there.
Fair enough.
Best documentary feature, Navalny actually wins, and this is, I mean, I don't want to like end here or anything. We can kind of wrap it up, but Navalny wins, which if you haven't seen it, is on HBO Max. I started watching it last night. I was so far behind in my documentary
It's great.
watching this year, but it's the most topical outside of All Quiet on the Western Front, most topical movie of 2022.
Yep.
It wins for best documentary feature, and the arrested man's wife, who was campaigning against Putin, is in prison. So they bring up his wife and kids to give a speech on the film. So that was pretty impactful. Decide what you want to think about the guy the subject of the documentary. But so far the documentary is, TG watched it. The documentary is good.
Yeah, I just thought they did such a good job. He's a very complicated figure, and obviously, when you put anybody up against Putin, you're probably going to look good if you're being
In
compared to
contrast,
Putin.
yeah.
Like in contrast, like it's going to make anybody look good. But they do a really good job of also highlighting the kind of other parts of Navalny that are not so pretty, sparkly clean. And I think that a real documentary has to do that, especially if you're going to tackle a person like this who you're going to be presented as the foil to Putin, but also we can also look at him as a complete person. I thought it was just really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so it wins. Of course, Pinocchio wins, and best documentary short, The Elephant Whispers, which I believe is on Netflix, and best.
There you go, Netflix.
Yeah, they got like
one.
5 Oscars. Best live action short film, An Irish Goodbye. Best animated short film, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, which is based on a book. But I just wanted to say this. They didn't give it to My Year of Dicks, which is unfortunate.
They should have.
That's a miss. We should have been able to look back in 30 years.
And probably never watching any of those. My Year of Dicks should have won.
Absolutely. So they just had Pedro Pascal get up on stage and say, My Year of Dicks. Good for them.
Greatness.
Yeah, so that has been the 95th Academy Awards. Obviously, we talked a little bit about the show. It was, to me, at times it was boring. At one point I did text, I was like, how much longer is this gonna, like, holy shit. But we're not there. Us on this podcast, the actual movie enjoyers, are not there to watch and complain about the broadcast and the numbers that it gets.
I had a great
Also,
time.
if you complain about the Academy Awards and who actually wins the Academy Awards, 95% of the people that actually complain about who wins didn't watch the movies. I've just found that out in my real life.
That
is my
mad,
rant,
bro. That's what.
How
I
did
don't
this
like.
win? It got $4 billion.
Like
Well, look, there's this movie called Everything Everywhere All at Once, and it was fucking delightful.
It was fucking delightful. And look, bro, I'm gonna tell you right now. I've seen some of the contrarian takes being like, Everything Everywhere All at Once is not even that good. Why is it winning all these awards? Shut the fuck up. All right. You are an unserious person. And we will not be listening to you. Shut the fuck up. Go away. Everything Everywhere All at Once is incredible. If you say it's not, you're wrong and bad and not a serious person.
Wrong and bad. No, I don't know, Tej. Any other rants?
Just be prepared. Next year, they're making a hard left turn in the other direction. The old people will rue the young people will rue the day that they let Everything Everywhere All at Once win the Oscar, because next year it's going to the most.
It's going to be Oppenheimer.
It's going to be okay. First of all, that Oppenheimer trailer, which was played during the commercials, where you should put a trailer, by the way, was fucking amazing. I cannot wait for Oppenheimer. I can't wait. I
Bloodbath between
cannot
that
fucking
and
wait.
Dune 2.
Oh shit, we are getting
Cannot
Dune 2
fucking
this
wait.
year. They're gonna give it so many goddamn awards. Holy shit.
We need Oppenheimer to be so good it steals all the below the line awards that Dune would get, and Dune doesn't.
Hey,
win
bro,
anything.
best supporting
At least
actress
Dune
for
do it
Florence
good.
Pugh, baby. She's coming back with a vengeance. Let's go.
Let's fucking go.
No, so I just said chalk one up for the millennials. They let these dudes that made an Adult Swim film fall ass backwards into a Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Writing award. And look, this is my final rant. There was a bad discourse going on last night about what the Oscars mean, and we do this every year. It essentially, to me, equates to stats on the back of a baseball card. It doesn't mean that somebody is necessarily better than someone else. Just like this whole MVP argument that they're having in the NBA currently, it doesn't mean that when you watch the things, because you're in there, we're studying game tape on here. When you watch the film, it doesn't mean that Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert are even on the same level. I guess now you would currently have to say, but even are on the same level as Akira Kurosawa, as Quentin Tarantino, as all of these other directors. And there was bad faith discourse going on last night saying like,
horrible faith
now
discourse.
they are technically, now they're better than all of these directors that don't have these Oscars. That's just simply not true.
That's not what we're doing here.
That's not what we're doing here. We're awarding them for one film that they made one time. It's not the totality of a career that we are awarding here. And I think people make that mistake. Now, we did say that people give legacy Oscars, but most of the time, these aren't for the totality of everything that you have done. Otherwise, we would have given the Oscar for Best Director to Steven fucking Spielberg. Like, it just is, they hit gold at the exact right time. They caught fire at the exact right time. And that's all of this is. It's like when somebody in baseball goes out and blows up and does steroids and all of a sudden they hit 45 home runs and won the MVP. And you're like, how the hell did that happen? You know what I mean? And then it goes down the next year. Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert could, I hope they do, but they maybe won't make a film as good as this for the rest of their career. It is almost statistically improbable.
Yeah, I was going to say, but it's almost whatever they make next, they should do something extremely small scale because like there's no way you're going to be able to, if you give them more money, they're not going to be able to create the same magic and create a movie that's as highly acclaimed. Even if it's just as good, there's going to be the backlash. There's always that backlash. But when somebody creates something that's so big and so monumental, so I agree. And it's like, I saw those tweets too, like, oh, they're saying these are better directors than Quentin Tarantino. No. Quentin Tarantino just now started getting nominated for his films because he just started making movies that didn't just focus on people's feet and have shoot 'em up, kill 'em up 90-minute action scenes. And I love Quentin Tarantino, so I'm not saying that those are bad. He's my favorite director of all time. But that doesn't mean the Oscars are like, the Oscars are not the end-all be-all of quality. Babylon, probably the most fun I had in the movie theater this year. That shit didn't win anything, but that doesn't mean the moments still happen. It still happened. I still saw Margot Robbie give maybe the second or third best performance I saw this year on screen. It happened. Nobody can take it from me.
Yeah, it's really, it's like the eye test. Like nobody's gonna go down the line, I think, in 30 years or whenever this is, and we're gonna be comparing. Who knows? We might be. They're young, but I'm just saying right now the visceral reaction to saying like, oh, now you got to put these people up there with Martin Scorsese. Listen to yourself, please. You know what I mean? You sound foolish. You sound dumb.
Yeah. Let's all just relax. We're just
that is my rant.
Here.
I don't. Complaining
they
about
won't
the
care
Oscars.
about the Oscars tomorrow.
Yeah.
By the time we drop this episode, they will have stopped thinking about the Oscars, but we will not. We're already thinking about the Oscars of 2020.
We're already in there. We're grinding tape. Screen
Locked
6.
in.
We're already watching film, bros. We're already in the film room scouting for y'all.
We're getting Stephen A. Smith
for
this
y'all.
Oscar nomination.
Creed 3 Oscar nomination, right?
And my last thought is I think we might have to start bowing to our A24 overlords, bros.
It's done.
Turn that shit up.
They are them.
Turn that shit up.
Like this, we've never seen this before. They've won every fucking award. Like
They've hacked whatever system it is, like, whatever new system this is post Harvey Weinstein, who was doing some nefarious shit other than the crimes he was committing. I'm just saying, not take away the crimes, but I'm saying when it came to campaigning for Oscars, he was doing some real backroom nefarious shit, like anti-campaigning against other films, like anti-recruiting in football. And they've since put in fail safes to make sure that doesn't happen as much. Now, we still had Andrea Riseborough get nominated for an Oscar this year. Ugh. But
I'm glad we basically didn't acknowledge that at all on this show.
Yeah, sorry, I had to do it. She was there at the Oscar.
Deck, did you ever watch that movie? Did you ever actually go watch that movie? Oh.
But somehow, all that to say, somehow A24 has hacked whatever new system that they have. And I think it's mostly just putting your famous hot people outside. I think that's really all it is.
Yeah. Y'all get out there and y'all peddle these goddamn sob stories, okay?
A24, call Brian Tyree Henry, make him a lead of one of your films, one of the good ones.
He got nominated for an Oscar.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We need to get him to get nominated for something that's actually good and people actually saw. That's all we got to do next. But he's already got the acting chops. He is him. He looks great at the Oscars. Brian Tyree Henry, I'm buying all the stock. I have already bought all the stock. That man's going to win an Oscar in the next 3 years.
So yeah, shout out to our A24 overlords. We bow to you and your greatness.
Congratulations to them, Killers of the Flower Moon. I think they're putting out with Apple, so that's probably going to win.
Oh, everything. It's going down. Holy shit.
Are they doing that
I'm
one?
Starting the campaign already. I'm starting the campaign right now for Killers of the Flower Moon. Give it all the nominations. Let it beat the record that Everything Everywhere All at Once just set. Give it to everyone. I know we've already given Scorsese his big moment, but who cares? Let's just do it again.
Sorry. It is an A24. Go. It's Paramount and Apple TV. But that is going to, if it finally does come out, probably be the one that everybody goes back and looks at. And
let's just forget The Irishman ever happened, and let's do it.
Yeah,
I am willing to do that.
I am willing to make that sacrifice for Martin Scorsese.
I know how much we all love The Irishman, but let's just forget about it and let's move on. All right.
One of the first rants I ever went on this podcast was how much I fucking hated that movie. And people love it too. They've gone back and it's like it's going to be a masterpiece, and I refuse
Those people
to
are
let
liars.
that happen. It's so
Those
boring.
People are liars. They're lying. They're lying.
Anyway,
big snoozer. Anyway.
Yeah. So that has been a One Take podcast over the 2023 Academy Awards, 95th Oscars, if you will, the everything, everywhere, all at once in your face Oscars. So congratulations to them. We'll be right back here next March doing this whole thing all over again when Air wins, because they just premiered at the South by Southwest Festival. So guys, anything else? All right, we're good. You can find us at One Take Pod, One Take Pod on Twitter, One Take Pod on Instagram, One Take Pod on TikTok, where they were roasting Tej in the comments. You post one video about Kang. They were fucking you up in the comments.
Hey guys, Kang is a liar. I'm sorry. I didn't want a black man to lie to me either, guys. I'm sorry.
So you can follow us on TikTok if you are so inclined before the U.S. government shuts that down. You can follow us at Apollo HOU. I'm writing a Last of Us season ending review right now that I probably am over 1,000 words on currently. So it's going to be in depth. I'm going to post that tomorrow. Whenever you're listening to this, it should be up. You can find Dex's writing review for Creed 3, a review for Scream 6, which by the way got shouted out in the Scream 6 trailer.
Yeah, that shit was insane, dude. I still can't believe that shit.
Dex, you're really him now, bro. You're really him now. That's crazy.
That was awesome. 4 stars, Dex Hinton.
Yeah, dude.
Davian Hinton, sorry, for Apollo Media.
Fucking wild, man. But yeah, go check out Scream 6 if you haven't yet. Jenna Ortega's really
great.
I haven't yet.
It's great.
So yeah, you can find us on all that. You can find us at @Les_HumbleTej, at Lord Dex Hinton, at Royden Ogletree. Go download Slander U for all of your March Madness coverage. We don't talk about Baylor basketball or anything on this podcast. Don't worry about it. And Thank you so much for liking, downloading, subscribing. Go leave us a review, 5 stars on Spotify and Apple iTunes. Dex, what are we doing?
Hashtag Sport Florence Pugh. A good person out in theaters very soon. Go check that out.
All right, we're out.